So it's cold enough today to have hoarfrost on something that isn't even breathing. Anyway, I've been waiting all winter for a temperature that we got now to dry scrape these hides, and I got 2 buffalo hides going. Typically we'd have lots of evenings like this, but this is the first night we've got down to minus 30. In fact, it was minus 32 last night, and in for my neighbors south of the border there, that'd be minus 22 Fahrenheit. So yeah, it's ideal for scraping, and I'll show you over here where I'm at with this. I've got this one done on the back side. I'm working at scraping the smaller one, the cowhide over here. So the tool that I made on the new forge, in the new blacksmith shop, it's working just absolutely stellar. So what I'm doing is I'm taking off hide. So in order to get a hide that's as thick as a buffalo hide to take the tanning solution, I've got to thin it down. So this isn't all membrane, but I'll demonstrate what I'm doing is I'm scraping that membrane, but I'm also actually taking layers of hide off. And it comes off in strips. So this is what we're looking at, thin strips of hide. I have to be careful that I don't get it down to the point that I start seeing the root hair, or the hair, root of the hair. There we go, got it. Because what'll happen then is the hair will slip when I get to the tanning. So it's kind of a fine line, but they're very thick hides, especially around the neck. So I've got to take a lot of material off. And yeah, and I got to keep working because it's darn cold out here. A good spell of time has elapsed since I started working on the buffalo hides, and when I started on them it was minus 30 Celsius, and today, and this is crazy because it's like not even the middle of April and it's supposed to go to plus 30 Celsius today. We still have snow on the northern face slopes in the woodlot. It's just crazy. This, what I'm standing in right now, used to be a wigwam. It was about 3 feet higher. It was bark covered, and it stood up well. And the reason I say that is I used to sleep in here with my grandkids, and they're in university now. So that kind of dates this structure. So what I'm hoping to do, the final process of the tanning of the robes is going to be to smoke the hides. That has to be done. So I'll light a smudge fire in the center here, drape the hides over it. I might have to do a little structural improvement here. She's a bit wonky. I did cut 3 feet off the bottom of it. It used to be about that high. And just a quick word on shelters. The hunter-gatherer tribes of the New World, so the Ojibwe, the Cree, the Huron, sorry, not Huron, the Algonquin, they lived in wigwams, round shelters, usually about 14 feet in diameter and bark covered. Bark long ago rotted off this guy. And the Agrarian tribes like the Huron and the Haudenosaunee or Iroquois, they lived in longhouses. So those are the differences, and I'm going to go off and hopefully I'm going to get one tanning of the first hide done today. Ow. The rule of thumb for tanning any hide is if the water's too hot for your hand, it's too hot for the hide, and that's too hot for my hide, so we're gonna have to let that cool for a few minutes. So essentially the process now is we need the tanning solution to sort of penetrate the epidermal layer of the inside of the animal. And because it's so thick, it's probably going to take 2, possibly 3 tannings. You can't do more than that or the hair's all going to slip off the other side. So pretty basic, going to put it on, wipe it in, going to use a few tools like a paddle to work it in. But the neatest tool is this guy right here. So in high school, I belonged to the archaeological club. And we excavated a site. It was neutral Indians, so cousins to the Haudenosaunee, along the north shore of Lake Erie, or close to the north shore of Lake Erie. And one of the artifacts that came out of that was that guy. And that is a softening tool. It's just designed. You can tell when you put it in your hand, you know what it was used for. They carbon dated that site somewhere between 450 and 550 years old. So I'm holding a 450-year-old tool, maybe a bit older, and it's still in use, which I find absolutely fascinating. Anyway, where are we at here? Still too hot for my hide. I'm about to try an experiment. So we were at an event once, and I have to tell you, it was the most fun I've ever had at a living history event ever. So there was literally thousands of public came through this event, and Kathy and I had set up a tanning station. So we had them in all different stages. The tanning installation, the fleshing, tanning, the smoking. We had the whole thing set up. And we had a hide ready to soften, which generally takes Kathy and I about 4 hours on average for a deer hide. And that's a lot of pulling. Anyway, as these kids came through, we asked them if they wanted to pull on it. And pretty soon we had a small army around this thing. One mother drops by and she's fascinated with it. She's got a toddler, I'm thinking about 3-ish years old. And she says, why don't we put them on it like a trampoline? So we put this little toddler in the middle with about 12 kids on the outside, throwing them up and down like a trampoline. Softest hide we've ever made. Sort of like walking on a slippery pond. Oh yeah, that's going to stretch hide. You can actually hear it stretching it. Whoop, whoop. Okay, it's ready for smoking now, which is the last step in the process. Just a note to those that are trying to tan hides. If you skin the animal yourself, you won't have things like this. So the best way to do any hide, large game hide, is to case skin it, just the same as a trapper would a beaver. When they're split down the middle and you're in a rush to get them off, you get these cuts that will result in these holes. But anyway, this is the cow hide, so the bull hide is about a quarter bigger. But anyway, we'll have one done here shortly. So we've entered black fly season, my favorite time of the year. Creatures, anyway, they're quite active today. The type of wood I'm using it's jack pine, and it's punk wood. It's pretty rotten, so it's going to give me a real low fire. It's kind of wet, and hopefully a dense smoke. So I got to keep the flames down. And now that we've got it on there, it's something we got to watch all day long, because I sure don't want it to burn up at this point.